Yes, is the radio network. So today we'll be covering, we'll be going from Jammu to Rajouri, Baflias, and our journey will, come to an end at Shopian. So let's hope all goes well.
Armed with optimism, it was time to march on the Mughal road. From there on, we invaded the 84-kilometer stretch from Baflias to Shopian. This stretch is all set to serve as an alternate highway between Jammu and Kashmir. It's a rocky ride all the way up to Shopian. But this rocky road is a blessing to many.
Now the Mughal road is not just about conveniences or cutting the travel time. In fact, it's putting an end to geographical isolation of Poonch and Rajouri district of Jammu and linking it with the rest of Kashmir. In fact, these two districts have been isolated for the last 57 years. So the Mughal road is not only going to boost the trade and tourism, but it's also going to strengthen the socio-economic bonds in the valley. And if Mughal road 400 years ago was all about Mughals and invasion and all that, this time it's for peace and prosperity.
It's peaceful in here. No more dodging bullets or landmines. The only thing that you should watch out for are the landslides.
Halted for another landslide, but this one is massive in real terms. I mean, look at this. It's plugged down a tree. And I'm standing on top of the debris. It's more like a mountain. It's more like a small mountain. The JCB is hard at work. And I think it's going to take anywhere from 2 hours to 3 hours to clear this mess and move ahead. The initial plan was to hit Shopian by dusk, but I think that plan is out of place and out of bounds.
Yeah, well, this is expected. This is what makes the Mughal road difficult to have. Otherwise, you could have done it 30 years back. So, as you can see, it's extremely fragile at the moment, and by the position of the road one below the other, whatever they're excavating from on top goes to the road at the bottom and then further down there. So this is all part of it. I mean, if it wasn't difficult, we wouldn't be doing it.
So what's the plan of action right now? They're saying that they're going to make a ramp of sorts, but I don't see where they're going to make a ramp of such.
Well, I imagine they would try and come from around the tree, from the lower side. And without excavating to the road level, they'll give a ramp about 6-8 feet up and then 6-8 feet down. So they can fine-tune the work tomorrow or later. And right now they're trying to get us through because of the mapping. And each time we stop, the mapping goes, the flow finishes, you got to get started all over again. So yeah, this one is definitely a sticky situation.
Frustrating for having lost the day because we are on a bit of a tight schedule, and rewarding in the sense of the challenge that the road is throwing up.
Wondering what the first competitive is like?
The road is rather wide, and it's climbing all the time, so the risk level is very low. What is challenging is definitely the dirt surface.
Well, the stretches like this were very common in the earlier raids. The road to Kaza, the road above Kaza is pretty much similar. It's not anything new for the extreme category. They've seen all this before. And it's just that it's in a new place. So they haven't seen the exact same corners. But the terrain is not going to frighten anybody as yet. And eventually it's going to become a beautiful motorable road into Kashmir.
After a frustrating 5-hour-long wait, the cars cleared the mess. Then we stopped at the fragile glacier, just kilometers before Pir Ki Gali.
Enough of admiring the beauty. The sun is back up here. I've been warned by the forest department because these glaciers, they're quite unpredictable. I mean, they could be giving up anytime soon, and though the depth is 15 meters, still they're quite unpredictable. If you could just take a look at this, they've already started to crack up. So I think we should be getting out of here because I don't want to die young, nor do I want to be history on national television. So I'll just make my move. Thank you.
And bleeding glaciers like these had turned the tracks into mud pits.
This time in the deep mud of Pt2.wmv. So if it rains, this is what it's going to look like. Chocolate sauce.
We moved up a bit and Peer Ki Gali pinned us down. If it rains, the competitors can expect an absolute slush fest. Keep a shovel and a rope handy.
You know, the challenge that sits for us near Peer Ki Gali, where there's a lot of snow melt and there's some, glacier melt that is coming down. Apparently it's quite slushy from what we hear. So that's going to be a 3-kilometer slushy terrain is certainly going to throw up challenges.
The wind started to whine and the tyre shrugged off the grime, and finally the 2-ton beast pulled itself out.
The hidden challenge of Peer Ki Gali is revealed.
And when the 4x4s fail, gizmos like winches come to play.
We have a Vaughan winch that can pull up to 4 tons. It's tremendous. We've got 30 meters on the roll. That really facilitates any difficult situation that may arise, and to pull ourselves or pull anyone else out of the mess that we find ourselves in.
The track pushed both the SUVs beyond their limits, and now it was time for the report card.
I think the Fortuner outperforms the Pajero on the highway maybe, but when it comes to steep gradients and power and pulling, the gearing ratios here are far more interesting and makes the entire experience that much more happier.
It's impeccable. It hasn't bogged down, it hasn't got stuck, it just goes over everything. It has great torque.
The best bit about the road recce was to experience history in real time.
Truly the experience was equating ourselves or taking us back into the days of Jahangir, mid-1600s. So it gives you a feeling of reliving the past glory.
The journey has come to an end, but personally it was a beautiful experience because the history is not out of any history book or any manuscript. It's in a very tangible form which you touch, feel and tread. I mean, we were treading on the same path as Jahangir and his troops did. And it's a very beautiful experience. It's fascinating to figure out how things worked during that era.
We conquered the heights, swam through lakes, ploughed through mud, and after 1100 kilometers, the road book for the Grand Mughal Road Rally was ready. And by the looks of it, it's going to be a cracker of an event. So if you want to go mud plugging in Mughal territory, be there from 24th to 27th of June.